Hello students, welcome to this class of MA final year and today we'll discuss another poem by Robert Frost. And dear students, as you all know, this is in your paper 5th B, that is American literature. The poem is inspired by nature, and one night when Robert Frost, he was working and he worked all night, so he was working on his longer poem entitled New Hampshire. He went outside to look at the sun and it came to him. The poem, it came to him. He explains, I quote, I have always thought that it was the product of auto-intoxication coming from tiredness. And this beautiful poem, Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening, is one of the most distinguished poems of Robert Frost. As I told you earlier also, he is a great lover of nature and nature inspired Frost to write. And this inspiration, it has culminated in so many beautiful poems which are composed by Robert Frost. They are the snow, river, trees, woods, moon, sun. They are an inspiration for Robert Frost as they were inspiration for the romantic poets Wordsworth, Keats, Shelley. In this particular poem, Stopping by the Woods on a Snowy Evening, Frost, he says that I was attracted by the snow, this snowy evening. He stops there and enjoys the sight of the woods. He breaks his journey there and he is happy to celebrate the company of nature. So let us now discuss this small poem of 4 stanzas. It has only 4 stanzas and the poem is very beautifully constructed. 4 stanzas of 4 lines each. And let us now, dear students, read out the poem. Whose woods these are, I think I know. His house is in the village, though he will not see me stopping here to watch his woods, to watch his woods fill up with snow. The first stanza, first 4 lines. Stanza second. My little horse must think it queer to stop without a farmhouse near, between the woods and frozen lake, the darkest evening of the year. He gives his harness bells a shake to ask if there is some mistake. The only other sounds the sweep of easy wind and downy flake. And the concluding stanza. The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. So this concluding stanza, dear students, it has inspired so many great leaders of the world, and even Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, he used to recite these lines and he kept these lines written on his working table. So this beautiful line of 4 stanzas is very inspiring. Let us now, dear student, uh, read in detail and understand the poem Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening. The poem, dear students, is the poet. He is making his journey to home, and on the way he breaks his journey to watch the beautiful scene of woods covered with snow. This is point number 1. The poet, he thinks that his horse should regard the break of journey strange. It is near the woods in the darkest evenings. So he says that my small horse might think this break of journey a strange one. Then The sudden stopping of his master. The horse shakes his bell to know if he has done some mistake by stopping here. There is seen only slow wind and fine pieces of soft snow, snowflake, as he refers, over the woods. The poet is highly pleased to see the beautiful woods, yet he remembers his duties. What is his duty? To work. And his duties, which are still undone, he wishes to complete them before going to sleep. That is, writing that longer poem, New Hampshire. The poet thinks that his horse, as I told you, might have thought that he has made some strange mistake. So this beautiful poem, dear students, is very important, and it describes nature at its best, and it inspires the greatest leaders of the world. The poem contains a reference to the journey of life, we can say. And a man in his life is attracted by the false temptations, which attract him time and again. False temptations and desires. They attract him, and a great man, a thinker, he overcomes, he remembers that this is not the achievement of his short life. He has to accomplish his deeds, his work, and go to the other world. The poem, it also presents a promise, that is, it inspires, which we have to make to ourselves and to others, or which others have made to us. The music of the poem is very melodious, and this poet Frost, he makes excellent use of the device at times. In this poem, Frost is careful to let the moral is grown out of the poem itself, and when the action ends, the poem ends. So we can say that it is the most perfect lyric composed by Robert Frost. The poem is a perfect lyric, and the poet, he has inspired us to accomplish the journey of life before going to sleep. That is, before finally the person is dead. Though the darkest evening of the year, now I value it for this and for something else. The portrait of Robert Frost himself, which these imitable last lines reflect. The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. They portray the poet, that is Robert Frost. Now, what Robert Frost really meant by these lines is that the scene is so beautiful that the poet wishes to go on seeing it. But he is tempted, he is reminded of his duties, and he says that I have miles to go before I sleep and miles to go before I sleep. Now, dear students, I hope you have understood this beautiful poem by Robert Frost, in which he breaks his journey by the side of a forest, and he enjoys the natural scenery, the beautiful scene of forest, and how he supposed that the forest is of that man who is living in the neighboring farm. The poet, he says that the horse, it might have also surprised when his master stopped suddenly by the side of woods. He asks his master if he has done some mistake. The horse, he asks this by shaking his bells, and There are only two sounds. One sound is made by the slow and gentle blowing of the wind, while the other sound is the fine piece of the soft snow, the snowflakes which are falling over the woods and covering it. So, a very beautiful poem which inspires us to go on, keep on our journey, and accomplish the work assigned to us before we are finally done with this world. Dear students, I hope you have understood the gist of the poem. Thank you very much.